The season ended exactly the way we feared, flat, lifeless, and nowhere near the standard. Minnesota took the axe and sent Wisconsin limping into the offseason. And as if that wasn't enough, TCU punched a basketball team in the mouth on Friday, turning a promising start into a weekend we'd all like to forget. It's time for some therapy and a lot of bitching. I'm Rajeev, he's Justin. Here we go.
Welcome to the Bucky Report, your destination for all things Wisconsin Badgers. Authentic takes.
Oh my God.
Game analysis.
Touchdown Badgers! Ring one up!
And discussion from the fan perspective.
Woo-hoo!
Thanks for joining us and on Wisconsin.
Welcome to the Buck Report. We are your hosts, Rajeev and Justin, back together on a Sunday evening to talk about all things Wisconsin Badgers. On today's show, we're unpacking a terribly rough weekend for our favorite teams. Luke Fickell and his boys closed the season with a gut-wrenching loss in Minneapolis, an axe game that raised more questions than answers about where this program is heading and what absolutely must change this offseason. On top of that, the basketball team stumbled hard against TCU, revealing real concerns about shot creation, defensive toughness, and whether this group is built to handle high-level opponents. We'll also touch on the 2026 football recruiting class, including the recent additions and latest departures. You can find our show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. If you like what we're doing, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, so you know when we make new content. A couple quick programming notes, Justin, before we get going. Signing day is coming up, early signing day. We're going to be doing a midweek show. Our typical, when we would do our three big things, we're not going to have a game next week, obviously. So we're going to do that with Nick Osen. So we're going to do a special signing day show this week. Next weekend, we're going to do a portal deep dive. This is Justin's idea, really cool show idea. We're going to go position by position, talk through everything about who's on the stat, who's on the team right now, how do we need to supplement? Where do we really need to focus our energy in the portal? And also, if you haven't checked out Rajeev's Corner, the audio-only podcast, last week I talked about rivalries. This week I'm talking about atmosphere, Kohl Center and Camp Randall, and what I think needs to be done to fix it. Justin, how are you, man? It's been a rough weekend. Really rough.
It sucked.
I mean, I had my Colts lose an epic game today again. We're just getting beat. My EPL team lost. Both Badger teams lost. It was literally the worst possible scenario for me this weekend.
My team tied it in the last minute of extra time. So
it's just crazy. All right, let's start what we do with our 3 and out. I'm going to go first on this one today. My Badgers take is a bit of an extension of what I said last week when we did our confidence things. And I said it was very low percentage that Carter Smith would ever actually start for a game for us after this season. And now I'm saying Carter Smith will never start a game for us after this season. I just don't see it. I didn't see it before. He's just not a good enough passer. I didn't see the growth I needed. I'm not saying he has no future. That's not what I'm saying. I just feel like we're going to go out and get serious quarterback play in the portal, maybe 2 of them. I just don't think Carter is either going to stay, especially after getting benched, or see the actual field again. So that's my Badgers take. My Big Ten take, listen, I hate Indiana, but that game this weekend, Ohio State, Indiana, that's going to be quite the Big Ten championship game. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope Ohio State wins, just because I'd rather the team that always wins rather than a team that hasn't won.
The first time it's been 2 undefeated teams.
Yeah, fantastic. It's going to be really good. I'm excited to watch that. And my any sports take, and this is something that I just really despise. All plays need to be reviewed in the NFL. I'm tired of them making mistakes on calls and say, well, that's not reviewable. Like the Houston Texans missed an extra point today. Literally missed an extra point because it went over the upright, and the whole ball has to be outside of the yellow. Did not happen. Was called good. Well, if it's called good, they can't overturn it. And then you have pass interference plays that really aren't. Like, I know that the game gets bogged down when you review every play, but I think you have to review every play. There has to just be quick reviews like, hey, hold on, that's not a pass interference. You have to go look at that on the monitor or something. You just can't have games decided on stupid penalties and stupid non-penalties. It really drives me crazy. Last thing I'll say, kudos to the Wisconsin women's volleyball team, 3 seed in the NCAA tournament, which kicks off this week. We'll talk about that a little bit as the show goes on. Justin, your 3 takes, my friend.
My first one is basically everyone on the offensive side of the ball should just be let go. that may include players.
We will be talking about that.
The offense was horrific, and it's been horrific this entire season. There's no way of sugarcoating this. We averaged 12.8 points per game. We were upset last year, averaging 10 points more per game than what we averaged this year. And this is just, I don't know where you go. I don't know how you keep the staff and use them as a selling point towards recruits in the portal. I don't know how you I've seen people talk about the offensive line and being like, well, they're young players. They just need to play. They're going to be good. And I'm like, we averaged somewhere around 115th in the country for a run-heavy scheme. Like, nobody should have their job. Like, I'm not here for participation trophies. Like, nobody played good enough. And the idea of just being like, well, they were young. They did it. Yeah, but they were young and they were terrible.
Yeah.
Like, you have to prove that you deserve the position. So if you bring in quality players from the portal, those guys have to prove that they deserve it over the other guy. I'm sorry, that's just the way it should be. Like,
and we'll get into that. We'll talk through all those things on the offense and whether we think he should even stay.
Okay. Well, Big Ten, yeah, I'm looking forward to that game too. I have a lot of time on my hands. I'm finding coming up here, given we don't have a bowl game, and yeah, I'd like to watch at least some good football. So,
yeah, not always the best. Not always
nationally,
the best.
I will just say this: we're about to hit a massive sports lull. Badger hockey, I don't know. Basketball feels like it's going to be very up and down this season. So I may have to become a hockey fan.
I think our sports lull is a ways away. We still got Badger basketball. We still have the NFL, but all right. Well, we got to just talk about this Minnesota game. Let's talk about it. It was rough, honestly. Coming into the game, we were very excited about what was going to happen. We were very excited about the possibility of literally ending this season on a major high, winning the Axe, having 2 ranked wins, 3 out of our last 4, pretty much winning every game we expected to win in November. But instead, we end up putting up 7 points on the road. Carter Smith gets pulled. Hunter Simmons goes in the game, throws 2 very untimely interceptions. The offense looked like it couldn't do a damn thing. A day later, Justin, give me your overall thoughts from the game.
Offensively, it was a train wreck, and I know people are upset about bringing in Hunter Simmons. I don't know how we get to 100 yards of total offense if you keep Carter out there. I just don't. Like, we had 29 yards at the half until that throw from Simmons. So what were you, like, the people that wanted him kept in there, what were you expecting to happen? We couldn't run the football. Like, for whatever reason, I don't know what the deal was with that game plan from Grimes, but it's the worst offensive game plan I've ever seen in my life. We had more quarterback runs than running back runs for a period of time in that first, like, midway through the second quarter. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah. I agree. Let's say the Hunter Simmons thing is a good place to start here. Like, I definitely was one who Carter Smith couldn't throw the ball. Like, he had a wide open receivers he was missing, wide open. Okay. Mm-hmm. We know that Hunter Simmons throws a better ball. This is true. He also turns the ball over, which is the trade-off you get with someone who throws the ball better than Carter Smith. Carter Smith's a better decision maker, but Carter Smith can't throw the ball. So honestly, I was okay with the Hunter Simmons decision. What I wanted to see, Justin, was a little bit of mixing it up. Carter Smith, did he play a single snap in the second half? I don't think he did, right?
I don't believe so.
And I think that's where I have my biggest issue is, why did you not put him in there in some situations? Because now all you're doing is just, you're putting us in a very tough spot. From the quarterback can't run right now. And honestly, Hunter Simmons, we saw in the Iowa game, we saw it. He puts the ball in harm's way too often. Just literally has tunnel vision and does not. He can make the throw, but he doesn't see that there is a linebacker or a safety coming in to cut off the route. And that's happened multiple times. So this is an issue that we've got. And I I think those turnovers absolutely destroyed us. I think we could have won that game. I know that we weren't really in it. Obviously, they out physicaled us a lot, but those turnovers crushed our hopes in that game. And obviously, hindsight's 2020. You could say, well, Carter Smith wouldn't have done that. Well, Carter Smith wouldn't have put us in position the 100 Simmons did either. My point is that you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. We didn't have a quarterback that could win the game yesterday. And we don't have a quarterback on this roster right now that can effectively win games. And that's why we need something there. And it's one of the reasons why I'm not as low on the offense as you are, just because we don't have a quarterback, man. Like it's out of control. It's so sad to lose that game.
But the way I'll push back on that is yesterday's conditions were perfectly fit for the type of style of offense that we're supposed to be cultivating, which is we want to get physical and we want to run on people, and we can't do that. And even if you get a better quarterback, you're still going to be playing with one arm tied behind your back. Like, this offensive line is garbage. I'm sorry. There's some young kids that I really hope turn into good players. They're not good right now. Nobody is. And that's a massive problem in this game. That's basically what lost that game, was the fact we couldn't run the football. And guess who ran the football? A team that was worse than us from a rushing standpoint somehow found a way to pop off a 50-yard run. And we didn't do crap in the run game. And I'm so tired of watching this offensive line never open even like a 10-yard carry hole. Like, you get one a game. Like, we are so far down the list of like explosive runs. It's ridiculous.
It was a gut punch, honestly, what this game is. The game's a total gut punch. Like, I really wanted to be able to put that axe back up on my shelf right behind us and be able to actually celebrate this and talk about a fun game. And instead, all those highs were just brought down by lows. But the bottom line is 4-8, end of season. What are you going to do? I think that the defense, they gave up 17 points. I'm not going to hate too much on what the defense did. I think overall could have been better at times. Certainly could have avoided that ridiculous Taylor run. Okay. Mason Posa, I think, had a couple missed assignments there and missed holes. But overall, I think the defense did what the defense had to do. They've done what they've needed to do for several weeks now. They held Minnesota several times, and our offense just could never get it done. You can't expect to go up to Minnesota, say you're gonna give up 17 points and then lose. You have to be able to score more than 17 points. You can't hold that to the defense. So I think the defense did fine. The defense has really impressed me the last few weeks. Any takeaways from you on the defensive side of the ball?
I thought it was probably the weakest effort we've had in the last 4 weeks, but the conditions stunk, which I think took away some of our pass rush. And let's be honest, their whole offensive game plan was just it was almost as anemic as ours. Like, he threw 20 times for 100 yards. That's insane. Like, to have that many pass attempts and have that little yardage from it. I thought the defense was pretty good. I think, it's hard to get sacks and negative plays when every pass is a 3 or 5 yard pass. At the same time, they put us in position to win this game, and they got no help. And quite honestly, they did a pretty darn good job holding, given the fact that the offense kept putting them in bad spots. And I mean that with field position too, because the complete inability for the offense to generate any type of drives for the whole first half is effectively why this game, we didn't have a chance to win this game. Because you kept giving them the ball around the 50-yard line because you couldn't generate even a damn first down.
Yeah. I mean, it was we did ourselves no favors in that game. They're not a good team. They're not. Like, I hate Minnesota. We all hate Minnesota. They're not that great. But we obviously blew it. And I'm appreciative of the fact that we got a couple ranked wins. I'm appreciative of the fact that we beat Illinois and Washington, and we got a couple wins to bring our spirits up a little bit. But when you lose the axe, everything falls in the tank as far as I'm concerned. And it's frankly just a shitty way to end the season. And knowing that there is no more Wisconsin football until Notre Dame and Lambeau Field, Like,
Oh, God.
it's been years now, Justin, since we've actually had a good football team.
I was so excited when that game was announced, and now I want
Now
nothing.
you want to get out of it?
No, I don't want to go. I want nothing to do with that game. Like, and the thing that stinks about it is the fact that it's such a big moment. I might never get to see another game at Lambeau for Wisconsin, and I don't want to be there. Like, I don't want to go and watch my team get their butt kicked and be like, oh, great. Well, it was a nice little day to get to go to the game up there, but my team sucked. So this is great. This is my biggest fear is we're going to end up going 7-5 next year, spending a ton of money. And this coaching staff and this idiot of a AD are going to be like, look, success. We're headed back in the right direction. And it's going to be like, not based off the money you spent. Like, you should be significantly better than where you're at, given the money you spent. But go ahead and act like you did some massive achievement when the issues that you've had all 3 years prior are going to be the same issues. It's just going to be a more talented roster.
Big Papa Johnny says punter didn't help defense either. I know the conditions were bad, and I don't know, Justin, if conditions really drastically affect punting, but man, Sean West just shanked a couple ones yesterday.
He looked like he was kicking a literal rock.
And I mean, that's insanity. You can't do that. You just, nothing we did helped us get anything. Nothing we did helped us out at all. Ryan says, ND is returning a ton. They're going to kill us. Locked On meetup next year has to be a winnable game.
Who's that third non-conference game?
We got Pittsburgh, Notre Dame, and some other Joe Schmo team. Listen, everything about this team, though, is dictated by what happens in the transfer portal. Okay, we could be, if we would have got a Fernando Mendoza last year, we'd be I'd be excited about going to play Notre Dame. It all depends on what happens with this portal, what happens with this team, right? That's something.
I don't disagree with you, but my pushback on that is it's getting really hard for this staff to be able to sell. Yeah, we just need players at this point. When you've basically regressed 3 consecutive years, and we're seeing it in our recruiting class. Our recruiting class is getting eaten alive because of the fact that we can't put a quality product on the field. It's the same thing with the transfer portal. These guys are going to look at it and be like, I can go to this team that was 7-5, 8-4, and it's similar money, or I can go to Wisconsin who's 4-8. And especially with the top quarterbacks in the portal, what incentive are you giving them to want to go to come here? Because there's nothing I see if I was somebody unless they're looking strictly for a paycheck, and then you get what you pay for, which is a guy who's probably not really into your team and is just trying to collect money.
Are you confident? We didn't get a chance to talk about this last week on the show with the Kellner stuff, but are you confident we're going to spend this money? Do you really feel like we're going to be in the top third?
If not, then this staff is going to be gone by halfway through the conference schedule. There's no way that we're not going to just get obliterated if they don't spend, because this staff isn't good enough to win with their coaching chops. So it is what it is. We've seen nothing from them that says that they're going to go out there and out-scheme the other team their way to winning football. I think Tressel's looked pretty good, but other than him, there's nothing on the offensive side of the ball that says we can get to 30 points in a game to win that game, unless we're somehow going to just start beating everybody like Iowa did a couple of years ago, where it's 2017 or whatever every single time, because that's all we can do. God, that would be brutal football to watch. We're winning games. Yeah, and every game looks like it's the biggest grind possible. It's like getting your teeth pulled.
Oh, gosh. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do some – I don't think we need to talk much about the Minnesota game anymore. We're going to keep talking about it a little bit, but we're going to do end-of-season grades, but not position by position. We're going to do larger scale thing, like offensive players, offensive coaches, defense, same, special teams, that kind of thing. And then have some discussions in the midst of this conversation about these coaches. And look, we all know Luke Fickell's back, so we don't need to talk about that. But there is quite a bit of discussion to be had about the coordinators and the coaches beneath them that need to be here or not. And again, reminder, next week, we're going to do a full portal deep dive into all positions and talk about that. And then, of course, after we get into our season grades, we're going to talk about the TCU game and the recruiting class a little bit. So let's just start offense, but not offensive coaching, Justin, offensive players, execution, on-field offense, the players. What is your season-long grade for this offense?
It's an F. I mean, it's like you were second to last in the country in points scored and worst in Power 4. It's an F. I don't care that there were injuries. Your team should not be this horrific even with injuries. For perspective on that, the last 2 years, we were at least 20 plus. We had injuries last couple of years too. We weren't 13 or less than sub 13 points per game. It's a failing grade. Like this, I remotely good.
It is an F. It is. I want to say D- just because, again, how many programs in this country are on their fourth string quarterback? How many? It's got to be under 3. Like there's just, that doesn't exist. Okay. In the sport, like the fact that you're on your fourth string quarterback, that's absurd.
I mean, technically you're on your third. He was ineffective. So you played your fourth,
but that's fine. But no program, I think we are the only team that has started 4 different quarterbacks. No team's going to have 20 points per game or 25 points per game average with that. I'm officially going to say an F, but I think there is we're going to talk about that a little more in the coaching side of it, but I agree. The offense was shit. There's no sugarcoating that, but we need a quarterback. You got to have a quarterback to play this sport. Okay. It's just that simple.
Well, that's
defense.
Not even up for debate at this point.
Defense on the field, performance on the defense. I am giving this an A-. I think that the defense deserves a lot of credit for what happened. I'm not giving him a full A because there are certainly times or it could have been better. I didn't want to go under an A- either because it's the only reason that we've pretty much done anything in the last few weeks. And I think the defense overall had a very good season. Now, you can look at the secondary. There were issues. But if Zachman plays the whole season, what does the defense look like then? There's injuries, yes. But as you just said, injuries can't excuse everything. Well, our defense didn't care about the fact that their leader was injured. They got better even without that. So I'm giving them an A- for the season.
I'm giving them a B. I thought they finished really strong. It's probably an AA the last 4 games. But I think there were some legitimate games where they were definitely not up to snuff earlier in this season. Maryland being one of them. Obviously, they weren't great against Iowa. Michigan, they were pretty good. Ohio State, they weren't great. So, I mean, they played hard, but I have to look at on-field results too. And in those games, there were some games where they just let it get out of hand.
It's true. But remember, in a lot of those games, the offense put the defense in really bad situations.
It did. I'm not denying that. And I still think a B is a good grade.
Yeah.
There's definitely room next year for them to take a step and be a really good unit start to finish.
Yeah. Special teams. Where are you on special teams for the year?
Oh man. D-, somewhere in that range. I mean, the kicking game was terrible. Punting was kind of inconsistent. I guess kick coverage was it? Did we get one returned against us?
I don't think so. We did return a kick. I'm going with a C-. It was bad, but there were some bright spots. I think Sean West, until the last game, had a decent season, even led our team in passing, which was nice. There's some unique plays there. I think the kicking game was horrible all year. The punting game was good. The return game was pretty decent. So I'm going to say C- for the special teams overall. And again, we'll probably do some deeper stuff as the season, as we get further away from the season and kind of look back on this stuff. But let's go into probably the biggest discussion point of our day is going to be the coaching staff a little bit. Let's start with offensive coordinator. This is where we're going to talk, and we're going to sit here for a minute because I want your grade on the offensive coordinator, including the coaches, and all their coaches. And I don't know how much you made your position clear on. You did it on Locked On Badgers, but on this show, you are ready for Grimes to be gone now. I think you've made this. You've proclaimed
the game plan that he put together for the Minnesota game just can't happen. Like whatever you were planning on for that game, I don't know what the hell you were thinking that you're just going to run Carter a bunch and that's somehow going to magically work. Like, are you just going to run the triple option the whole time? What are we doing here? Like, you don't have your offensive line stinks. Like, you have to have some threat of passing. And it was obvious when Hunter started throwing the football that was the only thing that was going to loosen anything up. And, unfortunately, Carter didn't look good throwing either. So the few times you did give him the ball, he looked terrible. He did not take a step. I thought he regressed in this game, Carter. I would probably give him a D+ maybe. He's had a couple of games where you looked at it and you're like, he called a pretty good game. There are too many games where you look at it and too many play sequence issues where you look at it and you're like, this team is really struggling to accomplish anything this year. And it feels like you're making it even harder on them by doing some of these goofy, let's make it cute offensive things. And it's really frustrating to see, like, just completely taking the offense out of rhythm.
I'm curious to hear what everyone's thoughts on this are. If you're listening to this live, put in the chat whether you would keep or fire Grimes, because I do want to know what the community thinks on this. And if you're listening to this later, put your comments into YouTube or the audio platform. I definitely differ from you and Ryan on this. I just feel like you can't. I'm not saying he was great. Okay, I'm giving him a C- overall, D+ C-. He wasn't good, but we didn't have a quarterback. Billy Edwards shows up. He's going to be the guy. He's our new transfer quarterback, just like last year with Tyler Van Dyke. You don't have a guy. He goes down in game one. Basically doesn't play the entire season. He played half of the first game, basically, and then a couple plays against Maryland. That does not count for anything. We basically did not see him all season. Danny O'Neal, not as good as we thought, certainly, and that's certainly on the staff. That's you can blame them for that. But he gets injured. Hunter Simmons is our third-string quarterback. Well, he's the third-string quarterback for a reason. Now we bring in Carter Smith. Like, at some point, you just have to stop changing things and realize that we don't have a quarterback, and we haven't had a quarterback in the entire Luke Fickell era. We had Longo for 2 years. We've had Grimes for 1 year. You can't just change. Thanks for this. Brian Axis says, keeps Grimes think we can't change system again. That's exactly what I'm saying. So you cannot just go back and change everything once again and say, now we're going to do a new offensive coordinator. Now we're going here. Hold on, let me finish. I just really feel like you have to factor in what hand this guy was dealt. Like, if he had Billy Edwards all year and this is our offense, I would say get him the hell out of here, because at some point, he can't be effective. But you, my friend, before this season started, we're talking about how excited you were about Jeff Grimes' offense. And I think you were right. One season with a fourth-string quarterback does not mean that he's a crappy offensive coordinator. And all those things you saw at Kansas that excited you, you can't say they're gone now, right?
What I can say is second to last in all of college football in offense. And injuries do play a factor. That is on him. That should not happen to a Power 4 team. We should never be at that level. That is completely on the offensive coordinator. And we had quarterback injuries the last 2 seasons. We were never under 20 points per game. So I look at this and it's like, I can respect you saying not wanting to make a change again. What does this end up leading to next year? What if we only score 20 points a game next year because the offense still sucks because of what we got going on here?
Well, then you fire him.
The biggest part to me. Okay, so why do we have to go through another year of potential? It's the same thing I'm dealing with the Fickell argument is we're going to run this back and we're going to end up doing this. And I'm going to end up having to watch because 2 idiots that are making way too much money. And yes, that was going to be a much worse word. 2 idiots that are making way too much money decided, no, let's just hold on. Let's just let this play out. Let's kick the can down the road one year rather than make a change. They don't get the pain. We get the pain having to watch their crappy product because they refuse to go out there and fix things when it's clear that there's a problem. I don't have an issue against Grimes as a coordinator, as a person. This isn't working. You need to get something like this. I don't know how you sell him as an offensive coordinator to anyone. And that's where my problem lies with this. And we have a chance where we may get completely gutted this offseason because there's going to be people that come after some of our guys. And I don't know how you fix like how this plays out. We could end up having all this money and have nobody that wants to come play here.
Okay, so to frame that up, and it's a lot to unpack there. I just feel like, yes, I agree, by the way, that keeping Fickell is a bad idea. That's clearly, but that's sadly not an issue anymore because he's staying. If you're going to keep Fickell, which they are, if Fickell is going to leave and the whole staff's changed out, fine, no problem. But since Fickell's going to be here, I just feel like you said, you can't be second to last in the country in offense, fine. What if any coordinator that played with the staff with the players that we had there this year, we're going to perform like that? Maybe a little bit better, but is any OC going to be successful with the players that we had playing quarterback, the players that we had playing offensive line? Like, yes, that's on the staff too. I get that, but I have to believe that Grimes can be a little bit better with some better players. And you couple that with the fact that we're going to allegedly spend in the upper third of the Big Ten and we're going to pay money for a quarterback. Well, then let's see what he can do with a real quarterback, because I can still contend that if Billy Edwards was healthy all year, we would have seen a much different staff. We would have seen a much different everything. I think we would have had a much better record. And this is it's at some point you just have to deal with what you've been given. And I just can't, I'm not going to blame him specifically and say he's got to leave, because then you get the next guy in. And guess what? If our quarterback gets hurt again next year, he's going to suck too. Like, you just got to, you got to just trust in something, right?
I trust that our quarterback will get hurt again next year, because that seems to be an annual occurrence. We can't even make it to the effing season before our quarterback is out for the year.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that there's obviously people in the chat that think he should go. There's people in the chat that think he should stay. I want us to go out and spend money, get quarterback, get offensive line, because that will change the narrative with this program. That will change a lot of things. And if Jeff Grimes is not successful next year, then fine. Like, so be it, and it'll be an acceptable thing.
Keffo, that is my biggest fear, is that it's going to be 7-5 is going to be viewed as some massive sign of, hey, we've made it. We're headed in the right direction. And what really only happened is the schedule got easier.
But we're gonna have to see some growth, and I think we will see growth. And if that doesn't happen, then he should be gone again. Like, listen, I want him gone now. I'm going to be clear on that. I don't want him to be the coach.
But what you and I view as growth and what McIntosh does are two completely different things. I think he's delusional. Like, I don't think that I don't know what the hell they're looking at in practice every day, that they think that this team is just, we're just one. I wish it would translate to the field. It's showing up in practice every day. BS. There's no way that this is considerably better in practice. And if it is, that's on you as a coach, that it's this much of a cluster every time you guys step foot on a real field.
Yeah. Because
this is a joke. It's pathetic.
We can all agree that this coaching staff has failed, but sadly, Chris McIntosh made the decision that he's going to make, and we're going to have him again. So I contend that we should keep Grimes for another year.
Let's keep moving past
Tressel. Tressel. I'm gonna give Tressel an A. Honestly, I feel like Tressel did a really good job this year, and I feel like at some point you can always look back and realize there were major holes with the defense, but the coaching of that defensive line, the scheme, like we kept saying, with better players, he could do better things, right? And I think he did. So I'm going to give him an A for this season.
Yeah, he's a B+ for me. I think there's a little room for improvement there. That would be probably getting like top 20 type defense. I don't think he's far away from that, but I thought I was very impressed this year. And I know Ryan would push back and be like, well, I told you just needed some dudes. Okay. Yeah, but you had guys that should have been better on the previous two seasons that still weren't very good. I thought they made pretty good evaluations in the portal guys that they grabbed, and they did a pretty darn good job putting this together for this season. some of the pushback I would have is I think some of the younger guys need to play more. Meaning Clayton probably was ready about midway through the season to go out there and give you reps here and there, and you never did it. And that stinks that you're not getting those guys involved when you are going to need to rely on them heavily coming into this year. And it probably would have been helpful to Reiger and Cheeks to be able to get a little bit more of a time off the field to just, get their win back.
Yeah, I think that I give him credit for playing Posa and Catalano as much as he did. I agree with you that the young guys, but I think he did that for the most part. We didn't see. It's not like we saw Tech.
I thought that Posa and Catalano should have been out there a little earlier.
Maybe, but they're there. He played them, and they obviously grew this year, so that's great. Dare I even ask your head coaching grade for the year from Luke Fickell?
He gets an F. Listen, I'm going to give any head coach an F when they walk into their press conference multiple times and say, "I wish I had answers." Because it's really hard for me to take you seriously that you should still have a job when you don't know how to fix it. That's the one thing you have to be able to do is find answers when things aren't going right. If you can't do that, then you're out of your depth and you probably shouldn't be coaching anymore.
Okay, so I see a lot of Fs in the chat, and you obviously said it too. Let me ask you a question, and I want you to just think about this for a second, Justin. If we win the Axe game, and we end up winning 3 of our last 4, and I know it's a big if, but if we would have won that game, what would your grade of Luke Fickell have been?
D+.
I mean, so for me, it's not an F because of
you only
what
get 12
happened.
games.
That's
a win is going to make a significant difference in the letter grade.
Correct. And I think that what happened from starting in Oregon and the way we played defensively there, and the fact that he didn't lose the locker room and those guys played for him and there was some camaraderie, and we thought it was going to be a total tailspin. First half of the season, yes, I agree, he coached horribly. But to get those guys up for Washington and even the first half of Indiana, we played well in parts of that game. And of course, the Illinois game, I can't give him an F for that. I'm going to give him a D+ for the season because I feel like it was not good, but it wasn't as bad as we thought it could be. When we were staring down the barrel of 2-10, it was not that. We thought we'd never win another game. We beat 2 ranked opponents. He got his signature win, his 2 best wins as a Wisconsin head coach this year. I can't give him an F for that. I just can't do it. But I understand why people say he's had an F, and many people in here.
It has more to do. It has less to do with the on-field product at times, and more to do with things that bother me about him not seeming like things like the left tackle situation earlier in the year. If you're not going to be over a position group, it's your job to be quality control of everything, and you need to be over the top of and say, "Hey, I'm watching this. This isn't working," and talk to your staff and say, "I need you to fix this," and that's your job. Not just to be like, "Oh, it's not working. Well, let's just keep doing it and see if maybe it gets better." You have to give yourself options and ways to fix things rather than just continuing to smack your head into the wall and expecting it to get, that to give you a different outcome.
Matt Van Grinson says, in law school, a lot of my grades were based off of one exam, 4 and 8 with 2 wins coming off against non-Power 4 teams. So what if he'd have been looked at differently if he won another game? He didn't. Yeah. I mean, that's fair. All right, Justin, let's talk a little bit about how this all affects recruiting a little bit. The 26 recruiting class, you're obviously pretty dialed into this. We did pick up a couple guys this week. We got an offensive lineman, Beckenhouse. I'm not really sure how to say his name. Beckenhouse, I believe. And then we got a JUCO transfer from Iowa. I forgot his first name, but Schaefer is his last name. Tell me what you think about these 2 guys that we've added to the class.
I'm going to be honest. I haven't had a chance to take a look at Schaefer yet. I did take a little look at Condi. He looks like he's got a chance to be a solid interior guy for us. Yep. He's got a good frame. He moves pretty well. He's going to take a little bit of work. He feels a little bit like the Brandon Lane kind of movement, or where you have him for a year. It might take him a year to get to where you want him to be, but he might be able to provide some depth this coming year. I just don't think he's going to be a starter, but that's what you need coming into this year is some depth.
Yeah, that's Jibril Kandi, 6'5", 270. I think he's 280 actually now. From Grand
288
Valley.
is what they said he
Yeah.
was on the season.
And listen, that's pretty solid size there. I mean, 6'5", 270. You're right. Like he could definitely be a solid interior lineman.
My gut instinct is they'll get him to like 310.
Yeah, yeah. Brady Beckenhouse and Taylor Schaefer were the guys that were added in. I really like. I think Beckenhouse is solid. Really, really nice frame, by the way. He's 6'6", probably profiles more to a guard than a tackle. But I think he could play either one. You need depth there, certainly. And I think that's good. It's a good pickup. The 26 class in general lost Mr. Jaden Pettit this week. He committed to Oklahoma. Your overall thoughts, kind of where this class is right now. Currently ranked in the 60s, by the way. Pretty bad.
This class looks like a transition class would normally look if you had a head coach leave. Like it's in really rough shape. And there were so many missteps on the recruiting cycle. Like we go back to when we were getting ready for, summer visits and you're telling guys, yeah, we're canceling this visit because we feel good. And now look where you're at. You have 13 commits heading into signing day. There's no possible way that this is what the class size you wanted on this. And now you're going to have to do so much work in the portal where you're going to be bidding against people because these guys have actual film. It's going to push up the pricing on everything. And not only that, but they haven't been developed in your room. So it's not like you get the advantage of them being ready to play in your system. So I don't know. It's a really bad cycle. I didn't think that this was even a possibility under Fickell. I would have said, if you'd asked me, I probably would have said mid 40s is probably going to be like his worst class. And we're 20 spots out of that. And a lot of it has to do with we're probably a solid 7 or 8 bodies light from where we should be in this class.
And what do you feel like is the most glaring positional need in this class?
Safety, offensive line, wide receiver. Wide receiver looked like a good class. It's not. I mean, Legree might turn into a nice player, but he's not your ideal pickup in this class. They needed some size and somebody who can, be that boundary receiver. They don't really have that guy.
Yeah, it's not a very good looking class. Currently ranked 63rd. And a composite rank of 67 per 247. That's pretty rough. The transfer portal has to be insane. It's got to be massive. And we're going to lose a lot of people, right? So there's already chatter of several guys that are going to be, look, we're going to lose more people than we think. We're going to lose people that we don't want to lose. We're going to keep some people that we expected to lose. There's just no way of knowing at this point. But what I do know is that the transfer portal opens soon. People are going to enter it. We're going to get some guys, and we're going to find out very, very quickly within the next 30 to 45 days how much money there really is to spend and what kind of quarterback we're actually going to get. Because if we don't get a solid, great quarterback, we're going to be screwed again next year. And we probably need to look at some other coaching changes as well. We're going to talk about that a lot when we go into our deeper dive next week into the full roster. But any other notes, Justin, on football before we move on to the hardwood?
No, I'm ready to not talk football anymore. Not going to basketball.
We go on to basketball. And the Badgers were in San Diego last week, got a nice win over Providence, and then got punched in the mouth by TCU. And again, we were favored to win. Did not look that great. There's some issues happening as far as we haven't seen Blackwell at his best. He played better in the TCU game, but he also was very inefficient. He took a ton of shots, had no assists. Justin, the Boyd Blackwell combination, while they're both really good players, the Boyd Blackwell combination looks to not be firing on all cylinders. And I think that there are some bigger problems on this team. They defended the ball very well. They pressed very high up against us and pressured the perimeter.
They were blitzing.
We could not get any good looking shots at all. It was a struggle to put the ball up. And it's we're going to see a lot more teams like this as the season progresses in the Big Ten. Are you concerned about what you're seeing with these guys?
Yeah, I'm very concerned about this because once a book gets out on what your team does poorly, everyone starts attacking it that way. And that's a major concern. And I think that this team doesn't like physicality and does not like having guys who can really attack downhill. This is a team that I am a little concerned with might be front runners. So if they can't get out ahead of you and just run away, I'm concerned that they may kind of wilt when they start getting into crunch time a little bit. We haven't looked at it in any of the games that have been where a team could stay with us.
Yeah. The calling card of this team, the whole reason this team was going to be successful, and we heard it at Big Ten Media Days. Well, we're going to shoot more threes. Okay. And we have. We are shooting 33% from the three-point line, which is 206th in college basketball. If we're not doing that well, and we have no interior post presence whatsoever, we have no reliable scorer on the inside, and we can't shoot from the perimeter, what exactly are we doing? Where are we going to hang our hat with this team? And it's like hero ball from Nick Boyd a lot of the time, which is fine. We're scoring points. There's not a lot of assists. There's not a lot of interplay. There's good passers on this team, but there's not good passing on this team. I see
There's
good
no
passes
movement.
here and there, but exactly. There's no movement. We have a lot of skill, but we don't have the execution. And I'm a little perplexed by this because Greg Gard adapted, took a big step last year, but now we've got to adapt again a little bit because we don't have that interior presence that allows us to send the ball on the inside and then push it out to get better looks. Right now, we're just passing it around 5 out, and we're not doing much. We're not creating. We're not moving. We're just standing around shooting threes. If we're going to shoot 44% from three, then fine. But if we're going to shoot 33% and be 206 in the country, that's not going to work. And we're only going to continue to get crapped on when we play better opponents. So I'm very, very concerned about this team. And I think that Boyd and Blackwell have to really work better together. I think Blackwell needs to post up a little bit. I think you've got to find ways to get Winter the ball in the post. And you know what? If he doesn't like it, I don't care. He's still got to do it. Hit the hook shot, do something. You've got to get the ball in the post so that we can pass out of it. Put Rhodey in the post at times. We've got to find ways to get the ball inside because at the end of the day, if all we're going to do is shoot, we're going to lose a lot of games, man. Mm-hmm. And I know this is we don't need to be going crazy right now because we're fine. We're still very solid. I mean, it's still a very good team, but you have hopes with this team now. You've been thinking about, oh, wow, Sweet 16, man, we can make a run. I don't know if we can make a run.
Yeah, there's some things that definitely need to be figured out. And it's possible. I mean, we've had seasons where it took us 10 games or 15 games for this team to figure it out. And then they got really hot and it carried us. They're getting to the point where they're going to have to start showing some signs. But we haven't really had we haven't played a complete game yet. And I say that, and we've had games where we scored over 100 points. But even in those games, it's sporadic and it's bursts and then it disappears. So this team's just got so much that they need to kind of tighten up. And maybe they can figure that out. But there's certain spots rap is going to be a problem no matter what. Defensive awareness to me, it's so frustrating because you watch it and you're you just have to pay attention to your guy. I realize there's some, yes, you need to help somewhat, but when we lose people on the court, it's what are you doing? How did you lose your man? What are you doing out on the court? We've played pickup ball before, all of us. It doesn't happen a lot where I would be sitting out there and have my guy just running around randomly and I'd be I'm not covering anyone. And we have this, that happens multiple times in games, every game, where somebody is just doesn't get picked up or, gets downhill where they shouldn't because somebody doesn't cut them off. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff with this.
Yeah, it's frustrating to see how easy other teams can just get good shots on us and, get penetration and kick it out and have guys that are, straight line drives and things like this. And then for us, getting a 3-pointer is murder. It's murderous at times, especially against TCU. And we need to have the ability to do something different. And that's the thing that we're not doing right now. We're not doing anything different.
Yeah.
We've got a couple more games before we get into the Big Ten season. Then we got a couple more after that. Then we really get into the Big Ten season in January. This is going to be a telling month for us, right? I mean, if we need to stack some wins here, and we need to be able to actually prove that we can score. I mean, at the level that we even were last year, and, at the level we were for the first couple of games, and you even said we haven't played a complete game. We didn't even shoot that well in those games, and we still scored 90, 95 points. If we actually could shoot the ball well and get open shots, we could be a very dangerous team, but we're going to live and die by the 3. And that's just where we are with this team. We can't rely on our defense. We can't rely on our post play, and we're going to have to rely on 2 guards and a couple other guys getting some decent shots. But
it's truly sad. Our 2 highest potential post-up players are both true freshmen. Bieluskas and Garlock are probably your 2 guys that in a couple of years you're like, yeah, they could probably be competent on the inside. Like, they'd be able to do some things. You'd be able to throw them the ball down there a little bit. Unfortunately, just neither one of them are ready for – like, that was my biggest takeaway from the BYU game, or, like, actually the TCU game, is Bieluskas just could not function in that game. He really struggled.
Yeah. Jack says Carrington needs a larger role. I agree with this take. I like Braden Carrington a lot. I feel like I know he's not getting a ton of minutes. When he is in there, I think he's productive. He's reliable. He's poised on the court, which I really like. He can shoot the 3, although not at a super high clip. I think he should be our 6th man off the bench. I don't think Janicki does a ton for us, truthfully, at this point. I wanted to see a bit more from him this year. Where are you at between like Janicki and Carrington being our primary 6th man?
I think it's fine. I think I'd probably see Carrington out there a little bit more than we've seen Janicki. But Janicki brings a lot of energy that this team needs at times. But I think Carrington is a more skilled basketball player at this point. He's a better shooter for sure.
Slim agrees. I've been saying since game 1, Carrington is a good player and should be getting a lot more minutes. I've also been saying that. Very much agree. Justin, recruiting question here. Mike Wood says, what are you guys hearing about Latimer? Think he signs on Wednesday?
I think he does. At this point, I think if he was going to be out, he'd be out. But realistically, it's probably the easiest time to jump ship if you're going to, is do it on signing day and just be like, all right, I'm going to take a couple of bad days here worth of guff, but it's over then. Like, it's signed and I'm done. And, nobody can do anything about it anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I haven't heard anything either about Latimer either way. I do think that he would have already been gone. Like Pettit, we kind of knew Pettit was going to be leaving. We saw the OV to Oklahoma. We were hearing rumors about Oklahoma. It's not that big of a surprise that he did that. Hey, listen, and Jaden Pettit in his shout out, in his Twitter post gave you and I a shout out along with Ryan and some other guys. So how about that? There you go. That was nice. A rough weekend, man. Just a rough weekend all around in sports. Certainly for all of our teams, but mainly for the Badgers losing the Axe. Absolute crap show is what it was. Final thoughts, Justin, before we close this episode.
It's gonna be a long off season, man. Hopefully we have some good pickups we get in the portal. I think the biggest thing to remember is until we see it play on the field, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Hopefully we do some good things here, but I just don't know what to expect going into next year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not the way we wanted to go into the offseason, but nonetheless, here's where we are. The one thing I'm excited about is if there is really money to spend, I want to see what we spend it on. Like, let's see it. Show me the money. I can already tell you that's going to be the title of next week's episode. Show me the money. Like, it's time to show us what it is. So again, this week, midweek, we're going to do a signing day special show with Nick Osen. We're going to talk through the guys who do sign on Wednesday, and a little bit about their profiles, a little bit maybe show some film, talk about some holes and what we need to fill there. And then, of course, next weekend, deep dive into the entire roster, looking at who's in each room, who we need, what types of players we need, how many players we need, and kind of full deep dive into the portal. A great show idea from Justin that we'll do next week. Yeah, another axe gone, another season of Badger football sort of in the shitter. and hoping that the basketball team will once again save us. We will be back midweek and again next weekend. As always, thanks for joining us and On Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoy the show, subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Bucky Report or The Bucky Report Podcast from wherever you get your content. Until next time, On Wisconsin.